And that overhead shot, Chris, you could see the adjustment that Curtis Odom had made on the left-hand lane. He had been high, 3-6 combination every single shot. And when you saw his feet move about 10 boards to the left from that overhead camera, he gets the ball in the thin area of the pocket and just rips them out. Now he can press Walter Ray Williams Jr., who does have a 37-pin lead, 8th frame.
From not so far away, Stockton on the left, one of his twin brothers, Jonathan, a horseshoe pitcher, and his dad, Ray Williams.
Jonathan made an interesting point. He said he was about an 80% horseshoe pitcher at 40 feet, but the professional level where Walter Ray plays, from 30 feet he was 80%, and the pros play at 40 feet. He had a lot of trouble. Now you see the overhead. You'll see the line that Walter Ray is playing. He's playing a much straighter shot, and he'll slide to the left-hand part of the approach out near the right channel. He could lock up the match with this shot.
Waited a long time for a Rocky 9, but nothing happened.
9th frame with a lock in hand. He sends the ball high. The 2-pin comes off the sideboard, knocks off the 4, but does not carry out the 9. Walter Ray would be going at a 2:38 pace. The best Curtis Odom can do is 2:22.
I mentioned earlier Walter Ray, 4-time world champion. He is pitching horseshoes better than he's bowling. He told me thus far this year he's been in 4 matches. He's won 3 and finished second once. Not bad.
That is a good record. And
pitches tomorrow, as a matter of fact.
And hopefully he will do well. Now, Curtis Odom absolutely must strike on the next 3 shots to have any chance. 9th frame. Cannot win now, Chris. The best Curtis can do is a really quality 202 game. He's had a lot of balls around the pocket. Nothing good happened. Walter Ray Williams Jr. just breezing along at a 2:30 pace.
So Curtis will have to be content with a $4,500 check for his efforts here in Fresno.
Curtis needs a little self-confidence in the championship round, and you're going to see a whole lot of him. I predict 1990, Curtis Odom will be there many times.
All right, our first game has ended. We'll give you that final score when we return as we look at the winner, Walter Ray Williams, who will face Mark McDowell.
The Professional Bowlers Spring Tour, brought to you by First Brands Corporation, makers of new Simonized non-abrasive car wax. By Kellogg's Frosted Flakes, the last great taste of youth. And by Firestone, the name that's known as Firestone, where the rubber meets the road.
Spectators at Cedar Lanes in Fresno, California. Happy people here because they love living in a great climate in the San Joaquin Valley. Walter Ray Williams Jr. with 7 strikes, defeating Curtis Odom 237 to 187. Next up, Mark McDowell. Next week, we'll present the $25,000 first prize and a beautiful crystal trophy to the winner of the $50,000 Budweiser Kingpin Standings. This 19 tournament competition was contested throughout ABC's winter and spring tour schedule, and we'll do it from the Showboat in Las Vegas a week from today.
Doubles competition, always interesting. And now here's a guy on a roll with a 237 start. Walter Ray Williams Jr. starting on the left-hand lane, which his first opponent, Curtis Odom, just could not hit. Let's see how McDowell handles it. McDowell much more of a power player than Odom.
Gooden tripped the 4. 237, 187. Walter Ray with 7 strikes.
Walter Ray Williams Jr., you see him coming up the right side of the approach, just misses fouling by about 1 inch. It's amazing that players can go that close to the line and never slide over.
Consistency on the part of Walter Ray Williams. Now we get a look at 26-year-old Mark McDowell, a West Texas State University product. He's had 3 seconds on the tour.
No doubt about the line he's playing. Much more power, and as I said at the top of the telecast, what makes this bowling center so well liked by all the players is they can play where their ball rolls comfortably. McDowell with that solid profile, high push away, cupped wrist, and then drives through that pivot step. See him sliding way to the left to accommodate the big hook, and still has scored well enough to be in third position. Let's see how close he slides to the foul line, and watch, he'll be on the right-hand part of your screen.
Get out.
So he now puts the pressure on Walter Ray with that opening double. Walter Ray with a spare-up shooting in the second frame. Watch this.
Good concentration. He knows this is a key shot against a tough opponent.
Walter Ray had 7 of those in his first game victory.
Walter Ray with a Bachelor of Science degree from Cal Poly, or sorry, a degree in physics from Cal Poly. Can even the match if he can strike on the left-hand lane. He either needs to add a little speed to make that ball hold or move a little to the left. He goes for the speed.
A little 2-5, and this man wrote a paper at Cal Poly. The title of The Physics of a Bowling Ball Going Down a Lane.
Well, that one went just a little bit too far. At 60 feet, he wanted a little more hook. It slides by. He almost tilts the 2 into the 5. Ends up with a spare.
Okay, now another look at 5'8" Mark McDowell. 160-pound fine athlete, walk-on field goal kicker, once at the University of Wisconsin. And a lot of mixing action. We asked Mark earlier, how has college prepared you for the PBA Tour?
Well, college prepared me well for the tour. We traveled a lot, bowled on different conditions. Came out, had some success early, and then conditions changed, things changed. I had to adapt. I feel like I've adjusted and become a lot more versatile player, and I'm ready to win today.
And this is the best I've seen him in a singles event. He was close in the doubles with his partner, Dick Weber.
After a 3-bagger, he is left to 2-4-5. Gets the plaudits of the crowd here. Meanwhile, Amleto Monicelli practicing off to our right.
We have a foul judge this week, Chris, because there he is, Randy Stoughton with the PBA sitting to the side. He judges whether a player goes over the foul line. We had to turn the foul lights off because they were intertied with the automatic scorers.
Oh, and he just did catch the left side of the 2. This is a fertile valley. Among the fruits that are grown here, peaches. Brother and Dad Ray, leading, or trailing rather, by 17, can cut it to 7.
The shot of Walter Ray Williams Jr., just a very simple roll. Good hand-eye coordination, end-over-end roll. Perfect hit. 4-pin driving out the 7, all 10 pins driven straight back. And up comes a key shot. Walter has struggled a little bit on the left-hand lane. He needs to hit this to get back in the match.
And now McDowell with a spare up will be shooting in the 5th frame.
Watch the action of the 5-pin. The ball hits the 1-3, drives the 5 over into the 7. The perfect amount of power. You don't want much more than that, just enough to initiate the pin action. And Walter Ray is right back in the match. Now McDowell.
And then he's faced with this, the 3, 6, 7, 10.
It's amazing what happens to your stroke when your opponent puts a little pressure on you. For Mark McDowell, he needs to get the ball over in the 3-6 zone and then drive that 3-pin over into the 7. Needs this to maintain the lead.
Oh, yes. Made of the right stuff on that shot.
Big shot across the lane. The 3-pin goes and just scissors out the 7. McDowell keeps the pressure on the very tough Walter Ray Williams Jr. And through 5 frames, Mark McDowell has just a 3-pin lead, and the match is now on, Chris. The last 5 frames will determine the winner.
All right, the adrenaline moving through that body. And Walter Ray now, with a double up, needs to come through. Next Saturday on ABC, the High Rollers, the Professional Bowler Spring Tour, will be in Las Vegas for the Showboat PBA Doubles Classic. Bowlers team up for big money on the final stop. Instead of 5 bow next week, twice as much for your money, 10 bowlers.
Walter trying to go for a double to increase his lead to, or cut the lead of McDowell down to 7 pins, leaves the soft 10. So far, we have not had an open frame in the championship round today. Everybody marked the first game. Everybody's clean so far this game.
And that's always refreshing, because our viewers tune in to see excellence, because these are the finest bowlers in the world. But when they do make errors, it just shows you what a tough game it is. Emleto Monticelli warming up, as is our tournament leader, a cheesemaker's son, Tony Marisi. Boy, that was convincing. Walter Ray Williams. We'll be back for more of our second game. The Fresno area is famous.
There's a new tire on the road, the Firestone FR 721. It beats our bestseller ever, the famous 721, in several key performance areas. This new design means even longer wear. Better
can extend that lead to 14 with a double here in the 7th.
Left of 4-pin.
Nobody has gotten a good break on a high hit. They've left the 4-pin or the 9-pin. Every time a player has gone high, in order to get a big string, looks like you need to be able to trip out that 4. The 2 goes around, just takes out the 7. And Mark McDowell, keeping the ball in play, will lead by 4 pins.
You know, Bo, seeing that track, I want to remind everybody that the greatest spectacle in racing, live right here on ABC tomorrow. I went to practice on Thursday, and what speed, what great cars and drivers. And we're in Fresno, where Johnny Boyd used to come to Indy, was a great racer. But Billy Vukovich III, in line of the Vukoviches that have been at the track, is in car number 81, and just in front of him in the 9th row is Kevin Cogan, whose dad owns Gable House, where we do a telecast each year.
Down in Torrance. Good luck to him.
Strike for Mark McDowell. And incidentally, Billy Vukovich III's grandfather won Indy twice, back-to-back. And then the next year in '55 was killed in a crash.
Wow. Mark McDowell with that extreme inside line. Hits the 1-3 light, then just saws that 5-pin out. Carries a strike. Has a 4-pin lead, but Walter Ray Williams Jr. can change that here with a strike in the 8th.
Left to 10 to his disappointment. Nelson's bowling tip of the week will be on accuracy today.
I think one of the best all-around tips we give, Chris. It gives somebody an idea on how to line up to their target with their shoulder and what pitfalls they fall into to misdirect the bowling ball. Good tip for all of the game.
All right. Very, very close second match on our live telecast from Fresno, and reeks a little bit of a tie, Bo.
Well, Walter Ray Williams Jr. with the full fingertip grip, just putting the tips of his fingers in the bowling ball, spreads that index finger for balance. 9th frame, trails by 4. best 2 shots he's thrown in the match. Solid 10 there in the 8th, and sets up the foundation frame with an aggressive shot here in the 9th. Now it's all up to Mark McDowell to keep that swing in towards his body. Something to look for in McDowell's style is that under pressure he has a tendency to let that swing bounce out at the top of his backswing and pull the ball. If he keeps it inside, Chris, he's going to hit him solid in the pocket.
Okay. 9th frame beauty.
And stayed inside with that shot all the way as he's put himself in a position where he can shut out Walter Ray, and he knows he's throwing this perfect. Now as the 10th frame comes up, McDowell going at a 2:23 pace, Walter Ray Williams Jr. a possible 2:29. It's still the man who could perform here in the 10th.
Leaving a 4-pin.
Mark McDowell, whether he wins this match, wins this tournament, or is defeated by Walter Ray Williams Jr., takes a look at this video. He must watch his arm swing and what kind of ball reaction he gets. In the 9th frame, he kept that swing what we call tucked inside out. The 10th frame, under the pressure, he let it bounce away from his side a little bit, pulled the ball slightly, I'm talking a ½ inch across his body, has left a 4-pin, and has given Walter Ray Williams Jr. an opportunity to take the match.
Walter Ray contemplating.
Needs 2 strikes.
Bowlers are especially well attired today. Great shirt slacks. I have to praise our PBA coordinator, Frank Esposito, a dude himself.
Get up.
And Mark has left the dinner.
What a shot that was, Chris. All he needed was to start the ball towards the head pin. I'll tell you why it's so important. He finishes with 218 instead of Walter Ray Williams Jr. needing 2 strikes to win. Walter only needs a strike and 9 spare, and we'd have a tie. Walter, it's the same as Walter getting a strike by him getting that horrible count right there. No reason to give the ball that much room. Walter, strike here and a 9 spare. We have a tie. 2 strikes, he wins. Anything less, he loses.
Oh, another 10.
That's going to cost him, Chris. The best he can finish is 209. Mark McDowell is going to win the match and go on to meet Monicelli.
And Monicelli will be this man's doubles partner next week in Las Vegas. He and Williams teaming up. What a tough break for this great champion, Walter Ray Williams Jr. But what an opportunity for Mark McDowell bowling out of Madison, Wisconsin. We'll be back.
Your bowlers have. They either push or pull the ball. Now I put a piece of white tape on the lane surface to show my intended trajectory to the 1-3 pocket. And the key is to get your arm swing going in the proper direction. What amateurs often do is they push the ball inside their intended target line, take it outside, and they pull the ball left to the head pin, often getting a split. Or they do the opposite. They push the ball outside the intended target line, it drops in behind their back, then they push it out the window, often clipping off 3 pins on the right side. Now what you want to key on is let the ball line up with the target, let that shoulder line up with the target as indicated by that white line, and then push the ball along that line and follow through. Watch this. There you go. Accuracy is 95% of the game. Make sure your push away goes along your intended target line and follow through right through that target line. You'll improve your game.
Here in the Fresno Open with a victory over Walter Ray, 218 to 209. McDowell shoots first. And as Walter Ray was robbed with the 10, that's the way Mark opens the game.
You know, Chris, we haven't kept track, and myself, I should be the one, over 15 years of the carry percentage seems to be getting lower and lower and lower on the professional bowlers tour. A lot of solid 10s, a lot of solid 8s. As you see the grip of Mark McDowell, the full fingertip, just the tips of the second and third fingers in the ball.
And the collegiate All-American from West Texas State is marked with a spare. In his 28th television appearance from Barquisimeto, Venezuela, just returning from there, Amleto Monicelli seeking his third title. 5th telecast of this year, equaling Mike Alby's performance. Impressive.
The profile of Amleto Monicelli, he has that very high backswing, a kind of a stutter six-step delivery, gets the ball at the top of the swing, cocks that wrist, then drives in. Watch how close he comes to that left foot, then the tremendous wrist action when he can keep the ball around the 1-3 pocket. They just cannot stand.
Teresa, his recent bride, also from Venezuela, very tense. Just sliding by. It's the 1-2-10.
Just lost the ball at the bottom of the swing. When you snap your wrist as hard as Amleto snaps his, you must have a good grip on the bowling ball. It just slipped off, slides by, leaves the 1-2-10, needs to get the ball to the left of the head pin, drive that head pin right over into the 10. And here's what happens. Slides by a very makeable spare.
Last moment. Breaking way too much. And it's our first open of the afternoon.
Smart move by McDowell. Monicelli gets it open. McDowell quickly on the approach. Take advantage of it.
Striking the second for the winner of the second game, McDowell. Wide World, a light heavyweight championship bout. Virgil Hill, the champion. Another title defense. He's a busy champion, and that's good. Joe Lasisi is his opponent.
Be good to hear my fellow St. Louis and Dan Deerdorf and Alex Walu calling the action in that match. Should be a good one. Now, that extreme inside line of Mark McDowell. Watch how close he comes to the foul line.
So Mark has doubled. Puts the pressure on the two-time champion, Monicelli. Amleto trailing at this moment in our third game of the afternoon, trailing by 24. Our statistician today, Frank Ellenberg. Lonely two.
Amleto Monicelli just really having trouble holding onto a bowling ball. It's easy to see in your television sets at home when a player takes the swing back very quickly, then decelerates coming through. That means he's trying to squeeze a hold of it and hold on to it. You're not going to get the proper wrist action and roll. Unless Monicelli puts some tape in his thumb or something, he's not going to shoot anything today.
Earlier we asked Amleto what he liked about competing in America as a pro bowler.
What I like about this country is the organization, about everything. Everything's so well organized that makes you feel good. And the only thing I don't like about this country is that, I mean, not this country, my career, is that I have to travel every week with suitcase. You can never really get relaxed like at home.
Well, maybe we can have a tournament in Barquisimeto someday. He can solve that problem. His dad owns 2 bowling centers.
I'll vote for that. And again, Amleto, a 2-pin, a young man that was in the area of a 5.6 Richter scale earthquake when he was home.
Said it just rocked him for about 10 seconds, and he's going to get rocked by Mark McDowell here if he doesn't make an adjustment after the next little break. He needs to get that thumb hole tightened up to put some pressure on Mark McDowell with some good shots.
We're at Cedar Lanes in Fresno, not too far from Yosemite, but in the San Joaquin Valley. Those are almonds inside the shell. Harvest a little bit later. Aren't they delicious? Ooh.
This part doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit.
Doesn't fit.
Book says it fits.
At Big A, we supply the pros, so we have to know what we're talking about.
Lead looks as sharp as ever, can extend to 35 pins, 4th frame.
Walter Ray Williams won the first game over Curtis Odom, 237 to 187. And then Mark McDowell, at whom we're looking, eliminated Williams, shooting 218 with 6 strikes to Williams' 209. And the winner of the semifinal game will go against Tony Marisi. Best string thus far this afternoon.
Boy, the fine line of excellent shots compared to marginal shots has been crossed by Mark McDowell. He has just kept that swing inside, waiting for the ball, and has driven all 10 pins in the pit the last 4 frames. Monticelli is floundering. He needs to just reach back and go for it all. He can't take a chance on even waiting around for McDowell to falter.
Leto leaving the 2 and sleeper 8, having the best match play record of our field of 5 finalists with 18 wins, 6 losses.
What do you do when you've kind of lost your timing, lost the feel, such as happened to Monticelli? Very obvious, not even close to the pocket. What you must do is move to the right on the approach for your strike ball and throw a little straighter shot to the pocket. Forget that big hook. It's not doing you one bit of good.
And Leto, who has not won this year, was 2nd at the True Value, 3rd at the PBA National, 4th at the Bowlers Journal Merritt, Florida Open. And here he is in his 5th telecast of the year. He won the Japan Cup in '87, the Showboat Invitational in '88.
Has 25 seconds to initiate a shot from the time his ball comes back. The PBA has put in a new, what we call 25-second rule. That means from the time the ball comes back, you have 25 seconds in order to initiate an approach and shot on the next lane.
Leto.
Straighten the shot out, Chris. We saw him come back and win the Showboat Invitational with a straighter shot when he was struggling. He made the move that time. Let's see if he maintains it or even has a chance as the red-hot McDowell comes up in the 6th.
And he's strung 5, opening with a spare. What a performance.
Mark McDowell attended 3 different colleges, went to the University of Wisconsin, was on the football squad, and was a backup to Kevin Rohde, the All-American. So he quit the football program, went on to the University of Wisconsin at lacrosse, joined their bowling team, and finally received a scholarship from West Texas State University, and that's where he finished his management degree, going for 6 in a row.
That's it. The Ricky Skaggs look-alike. Mark McDowell, 69-pin lead.
The wall shot, the head pin goes to sideboard, drives out to 4, 5, and 7, and this is the best string we've seen of strikes in a number of telecasts. Let's see if Monticelli can answer the challenge, throw a couple of strikes here, and stay in the match. Otherwise, it's going to be all over.
Thanks to irrigation, this is a fertile valley where grapes are grown, which eventually will become raisins. Do or die double for Monticelli.
Doing the best he can. He's going to that straighter shot there, Chris, and he dropped the ball. You could almost hear it go thump, thump, the double dribble, as we call it. But because he wasn't trying to play the big hook, his accuracy came into play, very similar to what we were talking about in the bowling tip of the week earlier, and he got the ball solid in the pocket. You see his finishes through the 6 rounds. The first 3 rounds are qualifying 18 games. The next 3 rounds, as you see the custom shoes of Monticelli's, a little beat up. The next 3 rounds were match play. Monticelli must strike again.
Oh. It's got to be bolted.
Well, we were discussing, Chris, the game earlier, the amount of solid taps we've seen in the last couple years in the Professional Bowlers Tour, and here by far is Monticelli's best shot through 8 frames. He doesn't get rewarded. He actually ends up with a spare. So something needs to be changed a little bit in the balls or the pin actions for these type of players.
It was like one of your clinic shots, Bo. I mean, just perfect in the pocket, wasn't it?
Yep. Well, it's almost, when you say perfect anymore, that's as a qualified perfect. It looks perfect, but it doesn't get the proper result.
Yes.
Now, Mark McDowell has a chance to bowl a 290 game.
Mark getting recognition. A man on this championship pair in 2 match games averaged 223, 14 and 10, 1 loss record during match play competition. That pinfall made possible by the shot of a practicing tournament leader, Tony Marisi. Only his second spare. Speaking of perfection, 2 light heavyweights with unblemished records. The champion Hill, 24 wins, 15 knockouts, and the challenger Lassisi, 22 wins, 20 knockouts.
It will not go the distance. The boy from Clinton, Missouri will win by the 8th round. And this match is going to be all over on this shot.
All right, we'll have that final score for you in a moment. The Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
Time and time again, the world's great pictures are trusted to one film, Kodak. Why trust your memories to anything less?
I'll throw in some strikes, Chris.
All right. Let's have an Ask Bo question answer. You're adept at doing that.
All right, partner. This question has been written in by many people, and it comes to this simply. Do the players get any practice before the championship round on television? The answer is yes. They get 1 hour of practice before the championship round. Then each challenger gets 4 practice balls before the final match, and then the tournament leader, in this case, Tony Marisi, will get 10 practice balls before he goes into that championship game. If you have any questions for me, please send them to this address.
Thanks for the answer, Bo. We move in now and near the 10 pins that Tony Marisi would like to knock down with regularity. Going against a red-hot 2-time winner today, Mark McDowell. Our round leaders from the very start.
Well, 18 games of qualifying. Baker up there, right there. Marisi caught him in the 18th game for a tie. Then 24 games of match play. James Miller. Then Tony Marisi took over and led by more than 200 pins. And he's playing an extreme outside line, Chris. He's hanging the ball right on the channel. And that's a do-or-die type shot. And if he gets loose in this championship game, he could shoot a big number. If he doesn't, he can really, really struggle. I remember a couple of times I led a tournament from that outside line, one Hartford, Connecticut, and I got on TV, I start pulling the ball, and it's 160 every time. So Marisi's got his work cut out for him. It should be a great match. Neither player has ever won a championship before.
And, of course, Marisi has been off practicing on other lanes. Had some practice, as Bo indicated, here on the championship pair throughout the afternoon. And now putting some tape in that, on that bowling ball. He is getting ready. Release a little tension. Bowling out of Hilton Head, South Carolina, but he's from Lamira, Wisconsin. Grandson of an Italian-born cheesemaker. So he's greeted by that single pin.
Not so bad right there. His first shot, he did not pull the ball away from the channel and got a break where he could have left the 6-8 split, and that is a good shot to start the match. Remember, Mark McDowell has never been a winner either, and when they get in that uncharted territory, it's going to be interesting the last 3 or 4 frames.
Tony Marisi, one of 27 lefties that started in the original field. Only 2 qualified for the final 24. Now the winner of 2 matches, his 3rd game. Impressive.
Well, that shot that our director Larry Cam brings you there on the right-hand lane just showed how well Mark McDowell is keeping his swing inside. He has such good body positions. When he keeps that swing inside, the ball is going to hit dead solid in the pocket. And we can watch for it during the match, especially if he gets under a lot of pressure or sees the finish line too early and starts letting that swing bounce out. He'll start cutting up high into the nose.
At the time, a high hit leaving the 3-6-10. How things can change in a hurry.
Just like that shot right there. McDowell a little anxious to get an early double. The backswing comes inside, then bounces out on the downswing. He goes high, leaving the 3-6-10 spare. And that swing must stay inside on all shots because his mind and body are geared for an inside-out swing. When he cuts across it, trouble.
Okay. Championship match is underway in Fresno. Now Tony Marisi spare up, shooting in the 2nd frame. Fourth at the Fairlanes Open in Baltimore. And a 7-pin.
2 good shots by Marisi to start the match. He left the 8-pin on the left-hand lane, and here the 7-pin. Now watch Marisi. He has the same problem that McDowell has. He gets the swing inside. Now if he keeps it inside, he'll be right around the target line. See, he cuts across it just a little bit, but you can get away with that outside-in swing or inside-out swing from the extreme outside line.
One of 5 children, 3 brothers and a sister. His parents, Ann and Frank Jr., his family were on the site in Baltimore the last time he was on TV. They're watching back in Wisconsin today.
And Tony said he wants to say hi to everybody in Brownsville, Wisconsin, population 350. Marisi has a glove on to help him in his grip of the ball and a full fingertip grip. Needs to see his first strike, 3rd frame.
Another 7.
Got the crowd buzzing. Not so much of the pin action, but that ball was just hanging on the edge. Look at this shot. The ball seems to be defying the law of gravity, but that's the kind of shot that Marisi played to get in the #1 position. He has to stick with that shot, and if he can keep trusting the ball out there wide like that, he will be very tough to beat because strikes will start happening.
All kinds of risks in every sport. Bowling, it's that hanging on the channel. In auto racing, it's going at the speeds that they'll be producing tomorrow at the newly resurfaced 2.5 mile oval of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, live at 11 a.m. Eastern right here on the ABC.
Mark says, what happened? Mark, if you can see your backswing, son, and I know you're going to watch this tape, you can become one of the best bowlers on the tour if you can correct that habit of an erratic backswing. As you see him, needs to get the ball over in the 1-2-4 zone, drive that head pin into the sideboard or into the 10 to convert the spare. If he doesn't convert, he'll be behind by at least 10 pins.
Leaving the 10, and it's an open frame for a man that's won 2 coming into this championship match. Light heavyweight championship. In addition to the Hill Lasisi fight, it'll be an interview with Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns on their upcoming fight, a live interview with those 2 good punchers.
McDowell trailing by 13, seeking his first championship, 4th frame.
The Brave Ones respond after an error with strikes like that, now trailing by 13. More after this.
Somewhere there's got to be a cure for athlete's foot.
There is. Step up to the mic.
Mike?
Mycotin. It cured my athlete's foot. It's got something the others don't. Myconazole. There's nothing more powerful.
Hey!
I'm giving away advice, not Mycotin.
Say, what you got for my athlete's foot?
Step up to the mic.
Mike?
Mycotin. It cures athlete's foot. There's even a deodorant Mycotin.
Then I'll take the Mycotin. To go.
Step up to the cure. Step up to the mic. Mycotin.
I didn't always look like this. This took a lot of work and a lot of help from this 1-calorie diet A&W root beer. And now I'm looking so good I have a blind date with a big Hollywood star.
Hi. A short but highly eventful romance.
Pour yourself a rich, satisfying diet A&W with 100% NutraSweet.
These are a portion of the Cedar Lanes. We're on the championship pair in the title game. 2 non-winners. This is Tony Marisi, the only left-hander in our field of 5 against a 2-time winner today, Mark McDowell. Tony is leading by 13, spare up shooting in the 4th. High hit, 4-7.
Marisi playing, once again, that extreme outside line. He needs to get his follow through going along the intended target line. Once again, we're backing up to the bowling tip of the week. There's an old saying that my golf pro that teaches me, Duke Nichols, told me that the follow through is really an extension of a body's intention. So you have to get it going along the target line.
Boy, it's obvious to me, Bo, that your intentions are to get better in golf. Look out, America. He's had some channel shots earlier this week. We asked him earlier if they would affect his play this afternoon.
Well, first of all, it did enter my mind, but I'm going to have to block it out. First of all, the approaches are very slick, and I'm not the type of player that likes slick approaches. I don't slide a whole lot. And when I'm playing that close to the gutter, occasionally, if my timing is a little bit off, it's going to fall off into the gutter. It happens. So my goal is to keep every shot on the lane, I guess.
And, of course, there is the first of the day.
And you know what, though? If he can keep trusting that ball out there, he has a chance to win the match. You live and die by what got you there. He plays that extreme outside line. It's difficult to play under pressure. You see that follow-through. Once again, we talk about the follow-through. You see the follow-through go to the left, way out. He forced the ball way to the left. The follow-through directed the arm swing too wide. Was the result of the arm swing being inside out too much. Now he has a tough spare, actually a strike shot. Good shot.
Oh, yeah. Got rid of that embarrassment with a beautiful shot.
Okay, now watch this follow through. Right up the boards that time, makes the spare, and he only trails. He leads by 1, even after the gutter ball.
But with that double, it's 11-pin lead now by Mark McDowell. Interesting, 2 non-winners on the PBA Tour. 6-year-old Mark McDowell and 28-year-old Tony Marisi.
Chris, the Indianapolis 500 in your home state.
Mm-hmm.
Rick Mears on the pole, but
right.
Pick a winner. Does that make him a lock winner? There's 500 miles to go?
No, not really. I like the person on the outside of the front row. His name is Emerson Fittipaldi. But I'm rooting for Kevin Kogan, A.J. Foyt. A lot of great drivers. I'm rooting that they all finish safely.
Looking forward to that, as McDowell was looking forward to that 3rd consecutive strike. He's averaging 233.5 coming into this final game, and has now put Tony Marisi behind by 19 pins. Marisi has not, as of yet, gotten a strike. 6th frame.
Concentration broken. wisely stepping off the approach.
The time rule is really not affected. That 25-second time rule is not affected by an outside disturbance. So Morici has all the time he needs for the necessary shot.
And he really needed that. He's gotten behind. And
he's got to like this. 3-pin goes to sideboard, trips out the 6 and 10. He's right back in the match. Now, he had one in the gutter in the 5th frame on this lane. He needs a strike to get the match down to just 9 pins. Biggest shot of his career.
a 7.
You're just not supposed to get tapped when you throw a quality ball like that from an extreme outside line, 16 pounds, urethane, great angle of attack to the 1-3, Chris. They're supposed to go down.
What can we do to correct it?
Well, you can buy a pin manufacturing company, and I can buy a bowling ball company, and both probably go broke, but it would sure solve some of the problem.
Okay.
Little slippage in the line by Tony Morici, but it really hasn't affected his shot that much. Even though he's only bowling a 186 pace, he's been around the pocket and filled all the frames. Now for McDowell, he can grab the bull by the horns and just take a commanding lead. He's never been here before.
And he gets 4 in a row. Let's replay that shot.
Watch the 3-pin, the 3rd pin on the right-hand part of your screen. McDowell throws his worst shot of the day and gets rewarded. Tony Morici, in the previous frame, had thrown his best shot of the day and actually was not rewarded. He left a solid 7. A little bit too much luck involved.
Equaling an earlier performance of a 5-bagger, Mark McDowell, Madison, Wisconsin.
Tony Morici taking a re-rack as you see the 5th strike in a row of Mark McDowell. He can see the finish line. He knows victory is within his grasp. And another rule change by the PBA, which I think is really excellent, Chris, in working towards the perfect rule. They've changed it down to just 2 re-racks per game. Ideally, I think that we could play by the rub of the green. No re-racks. They're headed that way. Now, Morici, 8th frame. Position round last night. McDowell defeated Morici 230 to 213, but Morici had already had the tournament locked up. But as he comes up trailing by 39 pins in the 9th frame, he has to strike. Without a strike, he cannot win the Fresno Open 1989.
So, 4th this year at the Fairlanes Open in Baltimore. He's going to better that today, of course.
Tentative look on his face. He knows he has to have a strike. Too bad. Best he can roll is 199.
Who just joined us. Walter Ray Williams defeated Curtis Open 237 to 187. And this man, McDowell, defeated Williams 218 to 209. Then dominated Monticelli 249 to 188. He's experienced those taps along with the other 4 professionals that have been in our field.
Every week, a lot of solid 10s, a lot of solid 8s. And what we haven't seen this summer so far is this solid 9. That's really an almost inexcusable strike. But McDowell, our tap, but McDowell is on his way to his first victory. He'll be in the 220s if he can mark in the 9th and 10th frames. Maurice only going at a 186 pace. I remember when I first met Mark McDowell, Chris, it was 1985. I was doing an exhibition in Madison, Wisconsin. They marched out this young college student, and I said, whoa, this is a little too tough for an exhibition match. And right there on the spot, he got a sponsor who is, I'm sure, happy with the relationship. He's been on the Professional Bowlers Tour and just keeps getting better and better. And he has a chance for a victory lap here. He has it locked up, 10th frame.
Once kicked a 48-yard field goal for the University of Wisconsin Badgers. And now today, realizing his best performance as a professional bowler, first time ever winner. What a milestone for Mark McDowell of Madison, Wisconsin. We'll give you that final score when we return. We'll be talking to Mark as well following this.
What do you have?
Give me 2 pizza puffs, chili dog.
Excuse me. Gus. 1 minute. Sorry.
Give me 2 pizza puffs, a chili dog, a large.
Hey, Lord. Gus, I told you, to be hot dog kings, we need lots of Bud Light. Not Bull Blood?
If you want the one light that outshines them all, ask for Bud Light.
Now what do you think? It's beautiful.
Because everything else is just a light.
Boy, I'm just so happy. I've dreamed about this day for a long time. I got a few breaks today. Tony bowled a great week, bowled great all week, bowled a good match there. I was fortunate. I carried the lucky hits, and I'm just happy, very happy.
I'm going to give you a little pause here. Spalding Wathen and Shelley Cox with the spoils, but Tony Maurice, it was great to see him on television today, and he's with Nelson Burton right now.
Thank you, Chris. Tony, you bowled a really good game. The score doesn't reflect it. You left an 8-pin, a couple of 7s, and you figure that outside line, you should be rewarded with more strikes than that in a championship game.
I agree with you. Basically, all week, that shot was carrying. I think I left more 7-pins and more of the back row in one game than I had probably in one block all week long, you know, and I guess that's the way it goes. And congratulations to Mark, because he bowled real well all week.
Well, Billy Whaley said it best, Chris, as you see this young man, if you go to the well enough times, Tony, you eventually get water. You keep bowling like that, you'll get a title. You have a new champ, Chris.
We really do, and Shelley Cox has a beautiful sterling silver trophy. And proprietor Spalding Wathen, wonderful guy in this San Joaquin Valley. You have some cash there, don't you?
I sure do. $18,000.
That's probably more thrilling than kicking a 48-yard field goal, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah. This is rewarding. I've worked hard, and I've worked a long time to get to this place, and I just couldn't be happier. I'd like to thank everybody here at Cedar Lane, Spalding and Shelley. They were great all week, and it's just a great place to get a title. Thank you.
How much did the collegiate bowling prepare you for the Pro Tour?
Collegiate bowling prepared me tremendously. I was at a good program at West Texas State. We traveled a lot, bowled in a lot of different conditions. I was surrounded by a lot of good bowlers, and prepared me well. I think it's a great way to go, and I think you're going to see more collegiate bowlers out here.
And what about your doubles partner in Las Vegas next week?
Yeah, my buddy Jack Jurek from West Texas. We're going to team up next week, and hopefully we'll be back right here on TV.
Shelley, thank you for a wonderful tournament. As general manager and as owner, Spalding, you're something.
I'd like to say hello to Harry Smith down there in Florida, the great pro bowler. Hi, Harry.
The great billiard player. Okay. The executive producer of ABC's Professional Bowlers Tour is Jeffrey Mason. Today's telecast was produced by Carol Letty, directed by Larry Camp, technical director Les Weiss, associate director David Kiviat. Now, this is Chris Schenkel along with Nelson Burton Jr. saying so long from the San Joaquin Valley in Fresno, California.